We are here this afternoon with Manda Mitteer, who's running for county clerk in the Democrat primary against Nancy Waters. Good afternoon, Manda. Glad you could be here with us today.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cahan. Thank you for having me here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and why you're running for county clerk.
Okay. Well, I grew up in Muskegon County from originally Ravenna, moved to Eggleston Township, Wolf Lake area when I was 9, graduated from Oak Ridge High School there. Went on to get my bachelor's degree from Grand Valley State University. When I was an undergrad, worked full-time, went to school full-time, worked at Wesco. And after that, I eventually got a job with Department of Human Services, which was called Family Independence Agency at the time. That was 1997. So I started out as an assistant payments worker there, knew I wanted to work with families and be more in the community. So from there I started doing foster care and protective services, worked at DHS for a total of 8 years. While I was there, I got my master's of social work degree from Grand Valley. I was working in children's services, so they encouraged us to get our master's degree and kind of accommodated us for our schedules, things like that. So but when I was finishing up with that, I decided, working in the court system so much with the attorneys, that I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be able to represent the people that I already represented, but with a law degree. I just felt like social workers, I didn't have as much credibility and needed that law degree to get more credibility. So went to Cooley Law School, quit my job, went to Cooley for 2 years, got in, got out. They had a program for 2 years, unlike most law schools. So came back and I got a contract with the 60th District Court here in Muskegon as a public defender. So I opened up my own law practice and had the contract and figured I'd make it a go. And since then, I do family law, I do some neglect abuse law, mainly I do the criminal defense. I also do some felony criminal defense, but mostly my contract keeps me busy in the district court. And basically that's how I came to run for county clerk. I didn't ever think I was going to get into politics, at least as far as a campaign. I've always been a voter, but being the official, trying to be elected. But being in the courthouse every day, I felt strongly that I wanted to see some changes made, and I'm a firm believer that if you want to see changes made and you don't do anything to make the changes, then you don't have a whole lot of room to complain about that. So I threw my hat in, and some people ask me, well, you're running against an incumbent. As far as that decision, Democratic ticket is, I just believe I have more Democratic traits than Republican. As far as the Democratic ticket, was raised Democrat, but as far as, I just believe it's a democracy and the voters should have a choice. So I just wanted to throw my hat in and say you have a choice. And if people want to vote for me, great. I'm looking for their vote, hoping that I'm the best choice for them. But if I didn't, then they wouldn't have a choice in the primary.
What distinguishes yourself between yourself and Nancy Waters? What's the difference?
Well, there's huge background difference based on what I know of Nancy. Her background was running broadcasting company, president, CEO. I know she was a county commissioner, and I know she's been involved with higher level of campaigns. I have worked myself from the ground up. I worked with people every day at DHS. I still work with people every day. I work with the little guy. I also work with attorneys. I work with judges. I work with a whole realm of people, and I feel like my experience gives me that diversity to represent the people of Muskegon County. I also have the ability to listen to what people are saying and not just let it go in one ear and out the other. That I found that as a social worker I need to do that, as a public defender I need to do that. So I'm on the level fighting for the little guy. At the same time, I also have good working relationships with the people throughout the courthouse that I would have to be involved with in running the clerk's office.
How long have you been an attorney?
4 years.
What is wrong with the clerk's office as you see it now? What would you do different?
Well, one of the things that got me into this, there used to be 2 public access computers in the circuit court records office on the 6th floor. And that was one of the things that drew my attention, that is a priority for me to bring back if I'm elected. It was a huge resource to the community. And I know some people's opinions differ on the public having access to circuit court records, but the law is the law. And whether I'm an attorney or an elected public official, I'm bound to follow it. And the law says that the public has access to these records. Those 2 computers, whether it was you just as a citizen, me as an attorney, bail bondsman, private investigator, anyone could come down, use that free of charge. And my opinion is, if you're gonna take time out of your day and your gas money to get down to the courthouse, then that should be accessible to you free of charge. Those computers were taken away a year ago, and now you can only access them if you pay an online fee, or if you go down there, I believe it's a $10 per search fee. I'm not for sure, but I believe I know there's a fee associated. I'm not sure for sure that it's $10, but there is a fee. And I do want to bring that back because it's the public right to have access to that. Another thing that I would like to see is to get more online options. I feel like Muskegon County is way behind the times in online options for that office. I think while I understand it costs money to do a lot of the things that other counties have done, I think there are some easy, quick fixes that are low cost that could get more online options for people, rather than, for instance, marriage certificates. I know Ottawa County, you can apply for a marriage license online, and then you have to bring your supporting documentation down after the 3-day waiting period. Rather than 2 trips down, it would save you a trip. I think that's a easy, low-cost fix that would save people from having to come down twice in a week. That's time off work, gas money, whatever it may be. So online services, I think, would also be a huge priority for me.
So you're taking a look at the county clerk's office and basically saying they took a step backwards in removing the computers, and they're not quite in tune with the times by not having things online like they could.
Yes, I think there's a great need for improvement there.
What about the idea of having the county clerk's office located where it is now versus moving it back to the first floor of the county building? What's the better idea?
Well, I can tell you from being in the building every day, a lot of people still don't know that vital records and everything except circuit court records is across the street. So a lot of people are still confused by that. For court purposes, I think it's probably necessary to keep the circuit court records office up on the 6th floor. But as far as moving the rest of the services back to the first floor when it's remodeled, that I would have to take a look from the inside out if I were to get elected and see what else is going on. It seems to be, in my opinion, running okay being across the street, but there is still confusion. A lot of people, because circuit court records are still in that building, a lot of people are still looking for their birth certificates and death certificates, things like that. So I suppose if the other departments were to stay over across the way, I would probably ask for some better signage, better publicity regarding that, because I know just from being in the building, I get asked probably once a week, where can I get my birth certificate? And people still don't know to go over there.
They moved the CCW permit process to the circuit court records office on the 6th floor. Is that a good location for that, or should that be over with the other county clerk functions?
Well, I would have to look and see if there's some rules or policies in place, but I would prefer to take that out of circuit court records, just because I feel like that would be a service along with the vital records or the doing business as applications. Probably could do it there. So as long as there's not some policy in place that I'm not aware of, I definitely think that would probably be better served across the street, because when you go and apply, you're going to have to go down to the jail and get fingerprinted anyway. The only convenience I could see is if once the first floor remodeling is done and the clerk's office comes back over there, it would be convenient for it would be convenient for a person to come into the first floor, do the application, and then go around to the jail. But it's my understanding you're still going to have to go back outside the building and go around the jail. You can't go down the hallway where me as an attorney, I enter that hallway if I'm going to go see an inmate. If you want to do business with the sheriff's office, it's my understanding you're still going to have to walk around the block. So I don't know that it would be any more or less convenient to keep it in the building. But I definitely don't think that the circuit court records office, those girls are so busy with the circuit court files that if there was a way to put it with one of the other offices, definitely I would look into doing that.
What about putting it with the sheriff's office? Wouldn't that make sense?
Well, then you're talking, because it is the responsibility of the county clerk, so then you're talking, and definitely if I could work with the sheriff and we could come up with something in conjunction to make it more convenient for the public, because you're going to have to go get fingerprinted. But it's my understanding it's the duty of the county clerk to take the application. Obviously, the sheriff has to take the fingerprints. But once the first floor remodeling is done, I don't know if there could be one single window to kill two birds with one stone and basically get your application fingerprints done. That would be definitely something I would be willing to talk to the sheriff about and see if we could do that to make things more accessible and easy for the people.
What's when you look at the office of county clerk, what do you envision as your mission statement or your goals for the office?
The most generic statement I can give you as my goal for the office is quality customer service. I feel that the clerk's office basically is offering customer service to make sure that these records are made accessible to the public in the most efficient and easy accessible way. So while the priority of the clerk is to maintain the integrity of the records, I think a second priority for the clerk is to make sure that if the public is coming to get those records, you make it as convenient as possible and make it as efficient as possible. So along with the customer service, that would be the online, getting the online options. It would be for the concealed weapons permits to, if it's possible, to work with the sheriff. Instead of making people run around to all these different offices, get everything taken care of in one shot. And I know right now, the way it's set up that, for instance, PPOs, and I don't know that there's anything I can do about this process either. You go to the 6th floor to apply for a PPO. You are going to be sent to the judge to see if he approves it or not. You then have to come back to the circuit court records office to file that paperwork. Then you got to go out and get the person served. You got the PPO on, and then bring it back. Now, that is all under the jurisdiction of law. I don't know that it could be processed much more efficiently than that because of dealing with the courts. But that's just one example. If there's something to keep from having you as a customer running from the 2nd floor to the 3rd floor to the 6th floor, back down and around to the sheriff's office, that's what I'm looking to do to mainstream it and get it a one-stop shopping type of deal.
Okay. I actually deal more with the county clerk on the other side, not with the circuit court. What are your views with transparency and getting minutes up and available, etc.?
I think it is definitely, I know I've attended some of the county, you're referring to the county board meetings?
Yeah, that's part of the responsibility.
And again, I don't know until I get into the clerk's office what I'll be able to do, so I don't want to make false promises, but I know there are concerns regarding the agenda and meetings, as well as the minutes. One of the things I would like to do, if possible, and again, it would be dependent on the commissioners, is I know there's an issue with the meetings being at 3:30 in the afternoon for people who are working. So that would be definitely something I would take a look at. I don't see any reason why with today's technology, the meeting minutes can't be up the same day or first thing the next morning after a meeting with the accessibility. And it's my understanding also that the county building is currently integrating a new computer technology that may give the capability of doing that. I'm not sure the ins and outs of it because I'm not on the inside track with that. But it would be nice, I would think, with this new technology, if I'm sitting there typing the minutes as the county clerk, review them right after the meeting, you could have them up within an hour or two after the meeting. And that's what I would like to see happen, provided that Muskegon County has the technology to allow me to get that done.
Okay. What are your views, and it's kind of like you don't have as much to do with that, but the bidding processes?
Well, you're referring to how the commissioners bid on.
It'd be more with your department, because like I said, the county clerk doesn't deal with it, it's financing. But that's one of the huge issues we have, is making sure that things go out for bid and that enough people actually bid on it based on the specifications.
Well, and yeah, I'm not real aware of what the current procedure is on them publishing for bids. That would definitely be one starting point for me to look into what is the notification of bids, because I don't even know. So I'm not saying I know everything, but I'm down in that courthouse every day, pretty much all day, and I'm not sure when things are up for bid, who gets notified, how they get notified, where can I look. I'm not aware of any online resource as far as the clerk's office that's offered, but definitely if that is a priority of the clerk's office and one that the county clerk is responsible for, definitely I think that should be published online. So if you're sitting at work and you want to see what bids are up with the commissioners, you can look it up on your lunch break, that you don't have to make a trip down to the courthouse and see. Obviously if you're interested, you're going to have to take it a step further, but just to be able to have access to that, I really firmly believe that in this day and age of technology that it should be accessible online if it's there for the public to know.
Okay. How about, because that brings up part of it, notices about meetings, etc.?
Again, I think that is very, very crucial that the public be informed of all meetings. You can kind of assume when the next commissioner's meeting is, but when there are special meetings or special work sessions, I definitely think that the public needs to be made aware of that within a timely notice of the meeting, not, unless of course the meeting was decided at noon today, we're going to have it at 3 o'clock, and there's a special reason for that. I think the public needs to definitely have enough notice, so if they want to attend, they can attend and participate.
Okay. And then my last question would be, and again, it's somewhat in your area, somewhat not, is consolidation and cooperation with, for example, for you it'd be the clerk's office with the township clerks or other organizations.
Oh, absolutely. I've already actually been thinking about, with the county clerk being responsible for elections, I've been trying to get out to as many township and city council meetings as I can, introducing myself to the boards, and I think it's going to be extremely important for me to work with the local municipalities. Elections is a big one, to make sure that it's more streamlined, to make it sure it's more efficient, but at the same time not compromising the integrity of the election process. So I am more than willing to work with the local municipalities to do that. When you mentioned consolidating, As far as, are you referring to as far as?
Well, the reason why I'm asking part of these questions is because the county clerk is one of those positions of the 5 elected offices that sometimes have extra responsibilities. One example was reapportionment. I don't know necessarily to get together for some of these other issues, but being one of the important elected offices, that's why. I know, for example, the county wants to consolidate the water plants. Not that the clerk has anything to do about it, I just wanted to know your particular views on it.
I think, Muskegon County as a whole, if I'm elected county clerk, I don't plan to sit in my ivory tower as the county clerk. And I think that's what sets me apart from the other 2 candidates for county clerk. I, on a regular basis, have to work with different people in different positions, different agencies, and I enjoy doing it, and we don't always agree, but I think that is one of the things that has made me a successful businesswoman, that I can agree to disagree, but when it comes down to it, my decisions are going to be based on what's good for Muskegon County as a whole. And while the different municipalities with this water sharing thing are obviously going to butt heads, as county clerk in one of these positions, I'm representing the whole county, not a municipality, so I have to look at the whole situation.
Okay.
But working with the county officials, absolutely. I don't think they're all well respected, and they're in their positions for a reason, and they know their community obviously better than I do on a county level. So, I would embrace working with them.
Okay.
What would be the possibility of having the county commission meetings streamed live online so the people that couldn't show up at 3:30 in the afternoon could simply turn on their computer, punch a few buttons, and there's the county board meeting they can watch at their leisure?
I would have to double check on the laws regarding this, but based on my knowledge of the law and the public's right to have access, I don't see where that would be, as long as there's the technology to provide the capability, which I think that's pretty simple. My understanding of technology, put a camera on and streamline it, because nothing's supposed to be edited from these meetings or anything. I don't see where that would be a problem. It would be the same as like a web class or something. I would absolutely support it, and definitely use the technology. Again, it would come down to money, but off the top of my head, I would dare say that the county building would have the technology to do that.
Anything else you wish to add at all that we haven't covered?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to meet with us today. We appreciate that.
Thank you for having me.
And good luck in the primary.
Thank you.
Thank you.